A man, whom we will eventually come to know as Renu, emerges from a dark doorway and limps away in a curious manner. He has several large scars on his head. Later, he walks along the beach and wades into the sea, disappearing into the waves. A new day begins and He makes his way to work through the chaotic streets of a Chinese city. He arrives at the Marine Animal Reserve where he works, which aims to put on shows. We see him walking around the facility with a bucket in hand. As he always does, he starts scrubbing a brush against the tanks, the floors, and the entire area, clean with dedication and determination. In the distance, we see the pool where the dolphins are kept in captivity. He interacts with them, greeting them and playing with them. Sometime later, the show at the venue begins. He, dressed as a clown, entertains the visitors by putting on a comical and fantastic show. The dolphins perform tricks, such as synchronized dances and amazing jumps, and later, the same clown interacts with a seal to create an unforgettable show. The audience applauds and is amazed to see the tricks the artists and animals show. The show ends and He is left enjoying the silence. Later, while he diligently removes his makeup in the bathroom, he looks at himself in the mirror. In his eyes, it is possible to glimpse a strangeness in himself. The afternoon passes in the coastal town. He enters a ferry to transport himself. During the journey, He's nostalgic and absent look remains. In a store, he chooses a soap in a totally disinterested way and eventually buys it. When the sun sets, He sits on a beach by the sea, smoking and stares closely at the horizon. He spends the entire night like this in silence and solitude until the sun peaks over the horizon again. The following day, He enters a food market and starts to follow a big, blonde, tattooed, shirtless man who wanders through the food stands and buys groceries. He's silent stalking continues on the motorcycle through old buildings until the big blonde man reaches a house. He gets off and follows him with a blunt, bat-like weapon in his hands down a long, plant-filled passageway. He waits for him on a corner, ready to attack him with all his might, while the big blonde man, following a chicken to catch it, approaches the corner, and the moment he peeks out, He swings his weapon powerfully at the man's head. Blood splashes all over He's body and face. With a murderous and obsessive look, he emerges from his hiding place and takes a firm step towards where there is a group of people who seem to belong to the big man's gang. The fight is about to break out. The narration is interrupted with the same image from the beginning of someone's legs walking underwater. In the recent past, Renu smokes a cigarette in front of a half-ruined building located next to the sea while a friend fixes a motorcycle. Bored, he climbs to the roof of the half-ruined building to observe a distant city on the horizon. Later, Renu goes to a hair salon to receive a new haircut. Immediately afterward, in the same establishment in a secluded section, we see a woman, who we must assume is a sex worker, having sex with Renu, who enjoys the moment with detachment. When he arrives home, the first thing he does is take a shower. On his naked body, we see several old scars. Renu receives a package in a cardboard box when he leaves the bathroom. Inside is a red jacket with gold designs. She tries it on and looks at herself in the mirror seductively, and to music coming from somewhere outside, she starts dancing sensually. At night, Renu starts up his modest karaoke, a small stand on the beach consisting of only a machine and a player. After finishing serving a few customers, He arrives, smiling and lively. Renu plays a joke with him, giving him a cigarette to smoke in which he had put fireworks. They have fun together and joke like two old friends. They go to eat together at a lovely woman's street food stand. At that moment, the city police unexpectedly arrive to check the area. The scandal breaks out and everyone rushes to collect their unauthorized businesses. Renu arrives at his stand, which is attached to a four-wheeler, but unfortunately, the engine does not start, and the police catch up with him and arrest him. At the police station, the commissioner reminds Renu of all the reasons why selling on the beach is not allowed. Renu listens to him disinterestedly and challenges him by smoking a cigarette inside the establishment, knowing that it is not allowed. Annoyed, the commissioner tells him that selling illegally carries a fine of 1,000 yen and the confiscation of all the owner's products. Renu leaves the station alone with his karaoke flag and must walk a long distance at night to return. On the way, he meets He, who picks him up on a motorbike and takes him home. In the bathroom, Renu and He wash their clothes and take a bath. Night falls, and while they are sleeping together in the dark, something suddenly wakes Renu up. He sits up in bed with an idea. They go out into the city and sneak into the police station under the cover of night. They enter the warehouse, where the police officers store all the confiscated items. He opens the door of some birds. Renu calls him to tell him that he has found his ATV with a karaoke jukebox. But before leaving, Li whispers in Renu's ear that they can take everything. Together, they leave the police station on 2 motorbikes loaded with stuffed animals, birds, boxes, and other items. They smile and shout, celebrating their triumph. Back at home, they enjoy the abundance of everything they have stolen. The next day, Li feeds and cares for the baby ducks while Renu smokes a cigarette. Later, they go out to enjoy the sea with their new surfboards. One morning later, Li puts on clown makeup to prepare for work. Before leaving, he sensually and romantically kisses Renu. After getting up, Renu goes to work with his portable karaoke at the beach. Talking to some potential clients, they witness an explosion in a distant mine. At night, Renu manages to sell his karaoke services to several people. Li and Renu's days pass typically, following their bathing routines, washing and drying clothes outside, and getting ready for their jobs. Renu goes out to an all-night electronic music party, dancing wildly and making out with a few men. He arrives home tired the following day. Li has been waiting for him. The narration is interrupted again, and we see the dreamlike images of the person walking into the sea. A few days later, a woman, whom we will know as Bai Ling, walks along the beach boardwalk in the afternoon. Many people are eating, drinking, and partying accompanied by fireworks. People excitedly repeat over and over again, "The new ship is coming," while Bai Ling continues to stroll calmly. A little later, Li and Renu help a woman friend set up the food stand. The woman introduces them to her young daughter, Bai Ling, who explains that she came to help her mother during the summer. Later, as Renu talentedly sings a karaoke song in front of a group of people, Bai Ling looks at him with longing. As the performance ends, everyone starts drinking excitedly. Bai Ling can't take her eyes off him. Renu gets drunk and ends up vomiting all over his house, both in the bathroom and on his bed, until he passes out. Li takes care of him all this time. It's another day and Li enjoys taking care of the seal at the reserve. Bai Ling comes to visit him by surprise. They talk about the seal and laugh together. Li sets up to train his routine with the seal. He does all kinds of tricks on it while Bai Ling watches. The days pass, and the three get closer, singing together and taking motorcycle rides. One day, they arrive at a village in the wild, and Li Renu and Bai Ling attend a wedding ceremony for some friends. That night, they all chew betel nuts, a very important cultural practice related to marriage. Later, in a cabin, Li comments that the first time he eats a betel nut, you blush, get dizzy, and your heart beats faster. Bai Ling mentions that it sounds very similar to love. Afterward, she makes a joke as if she were choking on one of the nuts. The two begin to play around animatedly. Things heat up, and the three of them end up having sex together. They spend a passionate night together, intoxicated by the effects of the betel nut. The next day, the three return to the city on a motorbike. Silence reigns as they do not exchange a single word, and the atmosphere is tense. Bai Ling strolls along a pier, pensive. Meanwhile, Li and Renu go about their business in silence. Bai Ling visits them and breaks the silence. They go for a boat ride and arrive at a bar. At the same time, Li and Renu are busy shopping. A big man and his gang invite Bai Ling out to drink and harass her. It is the same man Li attacked in the opening scene. Bai Ling insults the big man, sparking a violent fight between the gang and the three of them. After a chase, they escape on a boat and celebrate. Bai Ling starts spending more time at the two's house. While sunbathing, an explosion goes off in the mine, and the children start screaming like crazy. One hot afternoon, Renu and Bai Ling have passionate sex over and over again. After consummating their passion, Bai Ling confesses that she has wanted him since she first saw him and tells him about her dreams of spending a lifetime together. Renu falls silent, and after Bai Ling's insistence, Renu confesses that he does not want to have a relationship with her. Bai Ling leaves, deeply upset. Renu decides to surf in the sea to distract himself from thinking about what happened. At night, Li returns home. Unaware of what happened between the two, Renu asks him if he likes Bai Ling, to which Li innocently replies yes. Meanwhile, Bai Ling, singing sadly by the sea, is thinking about what to do. Another day, Li and Bai Ling walk along the beach and decide to visit Renu. Upon entering the apartment, they notice that he is with another woman. Upset by what she witnessed, Bai Ling desperately kisses Li but breaks down in tears and leaves. Li is paralyzed, understanding the situation a little more. Meanwhile, Bai Ling returns to the apartment and tormentedly kisses Renu, who first pushes her away but then kisses her back, both kiss passionately. Having learned the whole situation, Li resignedly eats betel nuts on his motorcycle, his face made up like a clown. At night, he goes to the apartment to look for them, but can't find them. He decides to look for Renu and Bai throughout the city. Upon arriving at Bai Ling's mother's house, Li Qi hears the police saying that something happened to Renu. He finds him in the hospital in intensive care, in a coma, wholly beaten and injured. On a security camera in the city, they see a recording of a bridge in which a gang is seen intercepting Renu and Bai Ling on a motorbike, violently beating Renu and taking Bai Ling away. The policeman asks the Li Qi if he knows anyone, and he replies that he recognizes the big man from the bar, but doesn't know of his name or who he is. The policeman assures him that they will do everything possible. The tragedy profoundly affects Bai Ling's mother, who desperately prays to Buddha to help her find her daughter. Li Qi accompanies her. Days later, a homeless man finds Bai Ling's body floating in the sea. He is naked and covered in wounds. Li Qi decides to take matters into his own hands. Night after night, he goes to the bridge where the tragedy happened, hoping to see the big man. The narration is once again interrupted by the scene of the person waking underwater. After a first-person tour of the streets, we return to the rooftop of the couple's house. Renu, who is now recovered and scared, watches a mine explosion. At the last moment, he looks directly at the camera and smiles.